Brella is a weapon class in Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3, and it's the only weapon class that has a shield. However, it is rather unpopular due to its low and inconsistent damage because of its shotgun-like behavior. But there's another thing holding it back. It's the shield itself. Hi, I'm NorthWestWind, and I've been playing Brella since March last year. There were a lot of times where my Brella looks like it should work, but it doesn't. In this video, I'll explain why that happens. Just a heads up for everyone, a lot of the parts in these videos are compiled from my experience of playing Brella and my computer science knowledge. And also, every part of this video is relevant to the Brella problem, so I would suggest you to not skip anything, unless you already know that topic. Anyway, let's start with the first part. If you go take a look at our first Splatoon, you will find that there's at least one post complaining about quote-unquote Nintendo servers ruining their gameplay. But the fun thing is that there are no servers. Or rather, you are the server. One may assume Splatoon uses the client-server model, where all players are connected to the server and the server processes everything. But that's not the case. Splatoon uses peer-to-peer connections instead of client servers. This is probably done to save money, but there's a trade-off for that. The user experience becomes dependent on other users. That means if someone connected has a really bad internet, everyone's gonna suffer. During matchmaking, one player is picked as the host, and every other player will connect to them when the game starts. The host player will have very low latency because, well, they are basically connecting themselves. You can test if you're the host with various methods, like painting the ink rails, picking up clamps in Clamblitz, or picking up eggs in Salmon Run. If they happen instantly, then you're probably the host. For other clients, not so quick, because of the latency between you and the host. And the latency between you and another client is the sum of latencies between them and the host, and you and the host. This latency is the main cause of most Splatoon 3 problems, like shooting through a wall at someone, throwing bombs that explode but not, and also the Brella shield problem. So with a latency between everyone, how can we determine if we shot someone? Well, there could be a system where every client agrees on if someone gets damaged. But that's too slow. So instead, Splatoon uses a system where if you shot someone, you shot someone. That sentence may sound stupid, so allow me to explain. So let's say Integral and Samasia are connected and playing together, and Samasia shot Integral on her screen. However, Integral was behind the wall on her screen. So, did Integral get damaged? The answer is yes, because she got shot on Samasia's screen, and that's all that matters. This is how Splatoon 3 determines if someone gets damaged or not. But this is just one kind of damage. I consider them projectile damage. But there's another kind of damage that I call object damage. Let's use another example. Say this time Samasia threw a bomb at Integral, and on Samasia's screen, Integral is close enough to the bomb that she will get blown up, but on Integral's screen, she is far away enough. So, will she die? The answer is no. Somehow objects calculations are done on the receiver end, and a bomb is considered an object, not a projectile. So as long as Integral sees that she will not get blown up, she won't be blown up. So here comes another question. Is the thing that I'm using a projectile or an object? A simple rule that I use to determine them is the fact that everything that came out from your main weapon are projectiles, and anything else are objects. Even special weapons, like you think a Trizuka shot may be a projectile, but it's actually an object. This rule has one exception, and that's relevant to our discussion today. One observation I have made is the fact that projectiles never interact with each other. But they will interact with objects, and for objects they can interact with either a projectile or an object. Brella has a shield, and supposedly it should be able to block other shots. Now remember that shots are projectiles, and projectiles don't interact with each other. So that means the Brella shield must be an object. Recall that objects are calculated on the receiver's end. That means if someone shoots you before they see your Brella open, then you don't have a shield. Let's make another example with Integral and Samagia. Say they are now facing off each other, and there's a certain amount of latency between them. They both have insane reaction, so Samagia made a shot and Integral opened her Brella. But due to the latency between them, Integral's Brella was not open for Samagia when she made that shot. And remember, if you shot someone, you shot someone. So Integral will still take damage even though her Brella shield is open, like the war example in the last part. That sounds really bad, does it? Well, luckily for us, only main weapon shots are considered projectiles, and anything else are objects, like bombs and special weapons. And because objects are calculated on the receiver's end, the Brella shield can reliably block all of them. Surprisingly, Trisuka shots are also objects. Your shield will always work on them. Well, except the janky part about Trisukas. This is a short range targeted towards Tentatek division players who joined the Takoroka division. Please stop. This is the world map. Here's where I live, and here's where the majority of Splatoon players are. Now, as you can see, for me to even play in the Takoroka division, there's already a good amount of latency. If I get matched with a Tentatek division player, the latency between me and them is gonna be even higher. The worst case is if they are the host. That will at least double and even triple my latency between any normal players in Takoroka. So please just don't do it. You are making the Brella experience miserable. Anyway, now you know why Brella shields don't work. Now, before we blame Nintendo's netcode for everything, we have to acknowledge that they still try their best. Latency is a physical constraint, and it's not solvable using software methods. In fact, I think they already did a pretty good job handling all the limitations. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, good luck, and goodbye.